You able to log on the internet? I'm curious if anybody else was able to log on.
No, Sandy and.
This meeting of procedures and management come to order. I see that all members of the committee are here, so we have a quorum. Old business, want to call the minutes. Don't want to hear a motion, accept the minutes. Motion. Okay. Is that your second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That's passed. Okay. Next order is old business. It has to be what we did last time, was to look at the ordinance about the half-cent sales tax that pays for the law enforcement centers from sunset February of next year. And we did an amendment on that. And that was changing in the consent of Judge Stump to the attorneys who write these ordinances. We have new ordinances. We have two of them, ordinance 1 and ordinance 2. So we'll talk about ordinance 1 first. I'm not going to get into the reading on all that. I think everybody has all read that. On that, okay. Are there any questions or anything about that before we go?
We just have to approve that and refer it to the budget.
Okay. The only question I have is that it brings up, ordinance 1, 2, 3 times.
You have to take a motion
Oh,
to
I'm
accept
sorry.
the ordinance
Hey,
in a
I'm-
second before you can do the discussion.
Okay, so I hear a motion to set on ordinance 1.
I'll motion.
Second.
Second.
Now, is there
Now you
discussion?
can open up for discussion.
I'll get into the swing of things here.
That's no problem at all, sir.
In the first whereas, the Court of Marion County, Arkansas County has determined that there's a great need for additional source revenue to be used for jail and law enforcement purposes. And if you go down to the last whereas, in the last sentence, it also says jail and law enforcement purposes. And in Article 2, in the last line, it also says jail and law enforcement purposes. The only question I've got is we have the county has a 4% sales tax for the jail. And this is a half-cent sales tax to do maintenance for the law enforcement center. But it says jail on that, so I've got the distinction, so that means going to be additional money for the jail law enforcement sales tax, or is there a different differential there? So can someone answer that question for us?
The 0.25%.
You have a 4% sales tax for the jail, that's in there, that's not, nothing's being voted on that. This one states in here in ordinance 1, also going to be stating in ordinance 2, this is jail and law enforcement. So are we doing additional tax for is there going to be additional money coming from this?
Not specifically, we're giving the sheriff discretion to spend that money.
Okay.
Because the 2025 budget for the jail was 1.5 million, under 1.1 million. So there was a shortfall there. So he'll have, if it passes, money to augment that.
Well, if it passes, it's almost like putting money in the county general fund. It's not literally, but it keeps things from having to come in.
So, yeah, the fact that we're not going to control the county jail.
I just want clarification that the jail has its own funding. Yeah. So we're just kind of covering there, we can do discretion on that.
I don't think Susan, if this passes, none of that money will go into Fund 3018. That's the 0.25% money. So it would all go into 18, it wouldn't go in 1800.
It would be, like you said, discretion.
Sure.
It'd be discretion in case there's emergency money needed for the jail. You wouldn't have to come back to the courts and pull the county general.
But
That's
it
why
does
that's why
also
it says
revenue
jail
stream.
and law enforcement purposes. Yes. But the 1/4% sales tax for the jail stays just for the jail, and will be used for the jail. That cannot be levied anywhere else. That would be illegal.
And it doesn't sunset at all on that.
Well, then why aren't we putting that half-cent into county general instead of directly to the sheriff's department?
Because this has to go for the maintenance of the law enforcement. they have to come back into the county general, man, that's what they've been doing.
That's not covered with the 1% sales tax. It's gonna continue.
The quarter cent will always continue.
Correct.
That's for the jail. This is, the half cent this area is to pay off the law enforcement bond, which will sunset in February next year. So what the county sheriff's asking for, the law enforcement, is the half cent sales tax continue, doesn't add anything else to anybody in Marion County. And then that goes for law enforcement for the building itself. The vehicles and stuff's a different issue. But by doing that, then if they have a shortfall, they have, before this, they have to come to count to the foreign court, and we have to pull funds, whatever they need. I forget last year, what was it, the Marion County law enforcement had to pull out, was it $250,000 or what? Or was it more than that?
870,000.
Oh, that was that?
Out of county general,
Yeah,
870,000.
870,000.
Oh, shortfall, county
Yeah,
general. So, yeah,
shortfall.
yeah, upwards of
Right, so they have to come and get that from the county general to take care of it. And it's half cent, that takes care of that, where they don't have to come to county general or to the foreign court to get out of county general. And it's almost like putting, the expected revenue is 1.2 million per year. Well, that's almost like putting 1.2 million in county general. I mean, it doesn't, but it makes sure the law enforcement doesn't have to come to us. And then that money can be used for other more important needs or needs in the county, which we can get another discussion about that. But not
I'll be
just,
coming back.
just not the road department, but even other areas.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the whole purpose of why it's asking that, and we're pushing for a special election on November 18th. And for the county needs to understand, and all the voters, so they understand that this does not raise any more sales tax rate on them. This just transfers that over, and it also gives it where it's a lot less pressure on county general on full. Now, does that cover it?
But y'all give the sheriff a budget every year. That's on your budget.
He has to have a budget.
Correct. Can you increase the budget? And why did we pay for $10,000 to settle a lawsuit out of county general instead of out of the sheriff's budget?
Now, that you'll have to ask the budget, or you have to ask for that.
Anybody know?
I don't. That was done the last year.
What was it?
Well, remember when they put out the signs for the, on the Halloween?
Halloween.
Yeah.
For sexual offenders out there. And there was an issue came up.
Right, we make it out of county general.
Right, and that's his question is why would we pay out county general, why did it come out of the sheriff's fund? And I'm gonna say probably because we put it in a more shortfall, so we had to come to county general.
I think most pertinently in that situation, the lawsuit was against the county
Okay,
and the sheriff.
so
So,
both of them.
yeah,
Okay.
and it was actually against JP's by name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, yeah, we paid that out of county general.
Well, we're, at this point right there, I know you got more questions, but you need to address those in court, because we're getting off issue on this. Okay, the only
Can I
issue,
ask why this ordinance is that, what was the process? Has this already been proposed by the court?
no, this is what we're doing is procedures and management, make sure this is worded correctly, this is all set. It's gonna go to the court next meeting, which is on the 13th.
It has to be proposed by a JP.
Yeah, then the JPs will look at that. They'll make the decision about on ordinance 1 and ordinance 2 that are here in front of us.
Well, maybe I'm confused because it's already got a date of
It-
May
that-
13th on it.
That's a date there. That's just the supposed date about when they want to kick it in. They had to have a date there.
It also
Okay.
says passed.
Well, yeah, but it's not signed and dated, okay? That's the way it
Yeah,
works.
that's what the county clerk has a stamp for because she does.
Well, when that gets done there, okay? But see, now we're getting out of what we're talking here. Your questions you got at this point, you need to address
It's
that
about the
in court.
ordinance.
Okay, so we're done on that one,
You
okay?
want to be transparent about it.
Well, okay, but you need to address that with the court. That's not in our procedure on this. I mean, you want to
This
question,
is open
no,
for
stop,
discussion.
no, please stop. You're trying to address every little issue in this ordinance like that. On the little thing, it's got a date, whatever. That you need to come back to the court on May 13th and then address that with the court. That's not in our procedure because we're procedures management. All we're here to do is we look at the ordinance, make sure it's worded like that, then say, yeah, yay or nay, to send it on to the court. Your questions address that. It doesn't apply to what we're doing here. So you just need to come back on the 13th because the questions you're doing is out of our range.
Well, I'm talking about transparency. This is how it works. How does the process go?
Come to the court and ask them.
Okay, put me on the agenda.
You'll have to, okay, you're on the agenda.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Suggest a vote and close this.
Back to Justice Reed's original question. Fund 1,800 law enforcement is our law enforcement sales tax fund. So if you didn't want to muddy.
This year. So
Yeah, this-
Okay, excuse me, you want to talk to the judge, please go back to
Probably
the,
look to
to
you
the
on the
disrupting our
revenue.
meeting,
Do you
please.
want it in that same fund, or do we want to have another little offshoot?
Well, that's a budget committee discussion, our court. For me, 1,800 would be very close. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's
No,
the
I'm just sitting here. Okay, you go ahead and have your conversation, I'm just, okay, we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Fund 1,800 is the existing law enforcement sales tax fund.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, Mr. Grice? Okay. All right. At this time, we're gonna vote on the ordinance one there, to approve it, we'll send it on to the quorum court. All in favor, raise your hand, that's the best way I want, that way I know.
Was the motion to,
The motion was to accept the ordinance one.
but we were referring it to budget, I think.
Yeah.
Or we were.
No, I think
It
it's
has
going
to
to the court.
go budget, it has to go, it goes to quorum court now.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor of going to court, to the quorum court? Okay, it's passed. There. Ordinance two. I'm gonna get into that. This is how it'll be worded for the, on the ballot. Which down there gives all the different articles. Again, I just point out the jail law enforcement, that's been answered. Are there anybody got any questions or anything on ordinance two?
Yes.
What's that?
Pursuant to chapter 711-205C, the language on the ballot should start with, the title should start with a special election, and then the 0.5%. If that statute applies to this, then that phrase needs to be in the ballot language.
Okay, where are you referring to?
It's the Article 2, the question of levying, it's the ballot language. The title of right now is 0.5% sales and use tax for jail and law enforcement purposes. According to statute, it should start with a special election on 0.5% sales tax. So they're very specific in the statute about that language.
So that needs to be added to.
Yeah. Or what we need to check, well, I guess with Russo, to see if that statute applies to this ordinance.
They already have it. Didn't they already, that's what the judge did, was redo this and take it in front of the judge or, in front of the attorneys and have them word. Thought that might be here.
Yeah, I thought the,
That's my understanding is it was, there's nothing.
after last meeting that they reviewed it to the language that, addressed the concerns from last month.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that whatever they came up with, the attorneys, that it would be sufficient to
Probably.
move forward.
Well, that, my understanding was the only thing that was in there, so, I mean, this went through the legal law firm.
Well, they specialize
In
in this, and I'm comfortable with working.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold it up. I just need the question asked.
Well,
Judge, just to fill you in, Mayor,
what, up at the top, it says an ordinance calling for a special election in Marion County, okay?
Are we on one or two?
Well, he said down in Article 2, which says a 0.5% sales and use tax for jail law enforcement purposes. And Justice Reed is saying that it needs to say in front of that, a special election in Marion County for 0.5% sales and use tax. Tell us it's a special election.
You shouldn't have.
the
to-
phrase is specified, special election,
Specify, okay.
and then the title.
You shouldn't have to put the language down here where you're questioning it, because we got address in the header.
Well, this is the ballot language. This is what the voters would see. That piece right there.
Mhm.
That's what the voters would see. And statute says that that preface needs to be there. If that statute applies, that's the question. I mean, if you want to go, if the committee wants to go with it, I'm fine with it, but it just,
At the point, I'm not sure what I can answer, whether we're gonna get into a problem with that or not.
probably not. Who would we get in a problem with?
Well,
We got an attorney.
well, I mean, do we need to, we would have to ask for it reworded or have the word to that? And then we gotta do this whole process over, you know?
Not for something that small.
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering, I mean,
It's just a technicality.
yeah,
You can adopt it at the court with an amendment. You can say, we will take this and as if this is amended to say X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And then
I'd say we just accept it, go with what we have.
yeah, I mean, let the full court decide if they want to add that to it, let them make that decision, I think that'd be better.
Well, as such, I move that we refer this ordinance to the court.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right. So we'll move the ordinance to the court, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance passed, goes to full court. Yes,
And I know, and we're in a public meeting, so I'm gonna say it out loud, but you don't have to give everybody the right to speak or go on court meeting, especially when their mental stability has been in question by even Little Rock.
I
You
understand,
don't have to give them permission. That's your right as their
I
JP.
understand that,
Okay.
but.
I didn't want you to be put on the spot, just decide to do it, because there's certain people that I would like to have talking. You're more, I can't tell you what to do. There's certain people that are just going to cause a scene for no reason at all and not for the movement or the forward movement of Marion County.
Okay, but all he needs to know, he has 5 minutes and that's it.
He's got 3,
Three, okay, 3 minutes and that's it. And yes, okay.
unless you respond to his question, then he gets a minute per response.
Okay, and I understand that, and that's it, and then once he sits down, then zip it. Okay, and trust me, I will go over that one too. Okay, if it gets out of hand,
Well, no, I'll handle that part.
okay, that's fine,
In my meeting, yeah.
I'll help you.
Well, just as a reminder, you have to approve him speaking.
But I have to.
You have to sponsor him.
Oh, I'll take care of that, okay. We're not done with that, all right? Yeah, he's in my district, yeah, okay, yeah, God bless you, all right, okay.
I'll fire him up a little more for you, so you should be getting the phone call.
What's that? Okay,
I got them all wound up.
all right, all right.
I hope he calls you and not the rest of us.
What's that?
I hope he calls you and not all the rest of us.
Well,
Call.
start from
Oh,
the
wow.
bottom.
Of the JP.
That's another story we're not gonna get into right now.
For your concern about that, I trust what they've done, but that law firm will be here.
That one?
The law firm will be here on.
Okay,
Okay, wonderful,
I will have her present
Wonderful.
for sure to answer all questions you would have.
wonderful.
And the
Yes.
farm court can amend it and we can change it.
Yes, but I will have the attorney here present at the meeting for sure.
We can use my favorite word, interlineation.
But she'll be able to answer all those questions, but yes, of course she will be here. That way, everybody's on the same page.
All right, anything else to discuss?
No good adjourn.
Second. Meeting adjourned.
Tommy went a little long.
Oh, well.
You didn't break the record.
Yeah, he didn't break the record.
Got me looking at that. It was all his fault.
I don't know.
It was all his fault.
I'll need to call anybody now.
She's not gonna be here.
He was.